Hi, you must be one of the students who still needs to pick up their book for their summer project. Okay, yeah, let me just get my list. And what is your last name? Okay. Can you spell that, please? I don't have you on the list. Did you pick a book yet? Oh, okay, so you need to pick out a book today. Okay. Yep, that's not a problem. I just want to warn you that a lot of the students have already selected their books, so there is a limited selection, but I'm sure we can find something that you are interested in. Well, before we begin, I just would like to mention that next door, some students are taking placement exams, so we will need to keep our voices to a minimum. Okay, so I'm going to look through the collection of books I still have. What sort of things are you interested in? Yep, those are all very interesting topics. I don't think we have anything specifically about any of those, but I will pull some things and we can take a look at them, okay? Alright. So I'm going to start with this one. This is a classic. You've probably heard about it before. I know some of your history classes might mention it. This is The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. It was originally written to showcase how poorly immigrant workers and just workers in general were being treated in factories. And while the main target was the appalling labor conditions, the public was actually outraged by the filth and contamination in the meat processing factories. This book actually sparked a lot of debate and controversy and ended up contributing to the passage of some of the Pure Food and Drug Acts. And this is really the only other book that had done this, besides Uncle Tom's Cabin, having to do with the abolition of slavery. So this is an interesting read. It's not terribly long. It is about 400 pages, which seems like a lot, but it is a classic and I do recommend it. This book also includes endnotes and discussion questions that I think would really help you with your report. So this is something to consider. Another book that's pretty popular is Catch 22 by Joseph Heller. This is it's interesting to try to explain. It is about war, but it's not a typical war novel. To avoid trying to confuse you, I'm just going to read the description on the back. Set in Italy during World War II, this is the story of the incomparable, malingering bombardier Yoserin, a hero who is furious because thousands of people he has never met are trying to kill him. But his real problem is not the enemy, it is his own army, which keeps increasing the number of missions the men must fly to complete their service. Yet if Yoserin makes any attempt to excuse himself from the perilous missions he's assigned, he will be in violation of a catch-22, a hilariously sinister bureaucratic rule. A man is considered insane if he willingly continues to fly dangerous combat missions, but if he makes a formal request to be removed from duty, he is proven sane and therefore ineligible to be relieved. I know, it's a very interesting concept. It's not too long. This one is about 500 pages. It does start out kind of slow, but it does get very interesting as time goes on. There are a lot of characters in this book, and they all interact with each other in very interesting ways. So I think this book would be good if you wanted to discuss character development or analyze characters and their conflicts. So I will set that aside for you. So this is an older book. It's also considered for juveniles, so it is a very quick read. So I'm sure if you were to read this book for your project, you wouldn't be able to do just a simple book report. You probably have to expand upon that to make sure you are presenting and analyzing the story at an appropriate level. So this one is called Garden of Broken Glass. It's by Emily Janie Neville. And the concept or summary of the story is a boy finds solace with neighborhood friends, and in this relationship he forms with a stray dog after he can't bond with his family and rely on them. He does not have a good relationship with his brother and sister, and his mother is an alcoholic, so he does have family problems that he finds comfort and relief with elsewhere. As you can see, the print is pretty big, and like I said, this was written for a younger audience, so it does not have a whole lot of meaning behind it. But I can read you just the first few paragraphs, so maybe you could get an idea if this is something you would be interested in. Okay. See that cool leather hat that cat had for $5? I'm gonna get me one. Dwayne tipped his head as if the hat were already on it. Where are you getting $5? Melvita said. Girl, can't you keep your old evil mind off money for even 1 minute? Dwayne let the grocery cart he was pulling thud to a stop. Here, they're your groceries. You pull 'em up in this big hot hill. Melvita grabbed the cart as if it didn't weigh a thing and started up the hill at high speed. So as you can tell from that first paragraph, there is a bit of not a language barrier because it is in English, but kind of a, what's the word? A different dialect and way of speaking, so that might take some getting used to, but it shouldn't be that bad because, as I said, it was written for a younger audience, so the words and vocabulary won't be too difficult to understand. Yeah. And this is an old book and was originally from the library, and then it was donated to a program, so it does still have its library stickers on it, but don't worry, it is the school's book and you won't be charged or responsible. It's not like you're stealing a library book or anything, should you choose this one. Okay, well, I do have one more book, and then after I explain that one to you, you can tell me which one you're interested in, and I will write down your information and you will be good to go. Alright? Unless there was a book that I mentioned that you're particularly interested in. Yep, not a problem. We can still go through the last book. So, our last book I have here is another old one. Don't remember the author. So, the author is David Feinberg. This is another one that was originally from the library, but like I said, it belongs to the school now. This book is called Queer and Loathing, and I found this book very interesting. About half of the content in this book was originally published as a form of essays or newspaper articles, and then things were added, and other stories and things that weren't published were added, and it was turned into a book. So this is actually a collection of, sorry, I got distracted. You already know it's a collection of essays and things that were put together. So it's divided into 2 parts, and it's a collection of essays on AIDS and this author's experience living with AIDS and what it is like, well, was like for him growing up as a gay man in kind of the epitome of the HIV/AIDS epidemic. So, you know, as always with things such as these, some of the minor details have been changed, some of the names have been changed, but he did want to keep this as close to the truth as he could get. This is actually a book that I really like. I've read it myself. Again, because of the topic, there's a lot in here that you could write about. So now that we've gone through all of the options, which one do you want to choose for your project? I think that's a great choice. I think you'll really be able to do a lot with that. I'll just write down your information so I know what book you have, so your teacher knows what sort of type of report to expect, so they can prepare, and also so we can keep track of the books and make sure we get them back at the end of the term. Okay, so I will write down the title of your book. And I know you introduced yourself earlier, but could you just tell me your name again? Okay, could you just spell your last name back to me so I know I got it right? Oh, so it's an E. Okay. Okay, well, you can take your book then, and you are all set. Well, enjoy the term, and good luck with your project. And if you need anything else throughout the year, I will be here, obviously, teaching. Even if you're not in one of my classes, feel free to stop by. Okay, see you later.